Yes, sir, Tube. It's your guy, and you know what it is. Quick Tech Tip Tuesdays. Let's get it. Yes, sir, Tube. So, for today's Quick Tech Tip Tuesdays, Subwoofer Box Build Planning Part 2. As you might be able to see, we've had a major temperature drop here in Kansas, man. Yes, sir. It's 90 yesterday, freezing today. Okay. Anyway, back to the business. So, in the last video, we found out how many cubes we had available in the car. And if you just tuning in, don't know, go check out that video. Because we will not catch up. We're just going to continue where we left off. So, we found out that we had roughly 10 cubes total space in our trunk to work with. And so, out of that 10 cubes, we know that we won't be able to use the full 10 cubes. That's not with building the box and putting the box in. Now, if you build the box inside the trunk, you can get a lot more closer to that 10 cubes. But that's not what we chose to do, because that's not the level of build that we're on right now. Right now, in this video, for this Quick Tip Tuesday, we're talking about simple builds. Building the box and putting it in the trunk. In the future video, we'll get to building the box in the trunk. But for now, like I said, maximizing the space that you got without having to build the box inside the trunk. Being able to build the box and put it in the trunk. Alright. So, as I said, we've maximized our space. So we showed you how to check the dimensions. Now we'll show you the dimensions of our box. We'll use that magic number again. Our box is 25 deep by 33 long. By 14 high. Okay, we'll do the math on that. Okay, so we got our outside box dimensions. But we can't use those because that is not the amount of airspace in our box. Those are the outer dimensions, and we know that our water is 3/4 inches. And you have two sides on all sides. So that's 1.5 inches that we got to deduct from each side. I'll say it again. These are our outer dimensions, meaning this is not the dimensions of airspace that we have available. The wood are 3/4 inches thick. Therefore, you have two sides. Therefore, you have to take 1.5 inches off of each side. So, I'll go back and I'll take 1.5 inches off of each of these numbers, and that'll give us our internal cubic airspace. 25 minus 1.5 inches, 23.5 times 14 minus 1.5 inches, 2.5 times 33 minus 1.5 inches, 31.5. Yes, sir. So, like I said, those are dimensions. And we divide that number by our magic number. Nope. And there we go. That is the amount of internal airspace in our subwoofer box. Now, if you remember correctly, we told you at the beginning of the last video, these speakers required between 2 and 2.5 cubes of airspace each. 2.5 times 2 is 5 cubes. Now you see that's why we chose the box dimensions that we chose. Now, and we had minor wiggle room in the building of this box design. When I say minor wiggle room, I mean we could have made it a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, or we could have made it like this, meaning we could have dropped the height of the box down to 12, which is the bare minimum, because they're 12-inch speakers, which leave you just a slither of screw room around the outside, seeing as your cutout will be roughly 11. You chose not to do that, and that would have gave us a little bit more space back here, but less space on the sides, which, as you can see, there's just barely space to fit your hand through. Now, so what we wanted was for our box to come as far back as we could, because we knew with that little bit of wiggle room, if we made it wider, that still wouldn't give us enough space to fit the amps back here. So we opted to use all of this space in an attempt to gain more space on the sides, so that if we chose to get bigger, we could get bigger. We could put 2 amps on one side and 2 batteries on the other, or amp and a battery on each side, just depending on however we chose to do it. That was our choice. It was planned out ahead of time so that we didn't run into problems later on. That's why the name of this series is called Subwoofer Box Build Planning. Because the better you plan now, the less issues you have to deal with later. Okay. So in our planning stage, like I said, we opted to make the box deeper in order to gain spaces on the sides to place our amps and batteries and things of the such. Now, in order to make sure that when we built our box would fit, we had to do some measurements. And you would think that since our box is 25 inches, that as long as we got 25 inches deep, the box will fit. That's not necessarily correct. You also got to measure side to side. As we said yesterday, or on our last video, from side to side at our shortest most point was roughly 39-40 inches, which our box is 33, so it's well below that. So as far as width wise, our box was good. The only issue is as far as deep wise. And like I said, seeing as though the box is only 25 inches deep, you would assume that the trunk being more than 25 inches deep, the box would fit. That is incorrect, because that is not the longest point of your box. And so that's your box's longest point is diagonal, corner to corner. So from that corner to this corner, you see our box is roughly 29 inches. Right there, 29 inches. So 29 inches is our longest point. So in order for our box to fit in our trunk, we need 29 inches of clearance deep. And as you saw from side to side, we just needed 39-40 inches. Our box being 33, we cleared that on both sides easily, no problem. To maximize our space front and back with minimal gap, which is what our goal was. Like I said, use as much as we can deep wise gain as much as we can lengthwise. So we needed, as I said, at our longest point, 29 inches. That's the amount of clearance we needed to get this box in there. So I'll show you. And as far as this point from the top of that box, which is as far as the box goes, to the gap of the opening in the trunk, 29 inches. A little less, but close enough to 29 inches where we could get it to fit. Now, like I said, this was a squeeze. Our opening is less than 29 inches, but from the point of our box to the point of our box, we got plastic, which we already knew from past experience in other cars that by removing this plastic, you can gain a ½ inch to an inch of clearance, which, if necessary, we would have had to do. But, like I said, with proper box planning, it was unnecessary for us to remove that because our measurements came out right. Yes, sir. And I think in order to keep it quick, we'll stop right there. Our quick tip Tuesdays, subwoofer box build planning, preparation, and maximization of our space to capitalize and cause us less problems in the future. Yes, sir. If anybody got any questions, leave them in the comments. We will address those. And we catch y'all for the part 3. Yes, sir. It's your guy. We out of here.